They called us heroes. But heroes do not dream in static. The neurosync overlay adhered to my cerebellum on a rainless morning, its tendrils whispering promises of purpose. The Dominion required no consent, only compliance. To join the Ghostwind cohort was to surrender memory, to let each mission carve you hollow and fill you with their holy fire. We burned colonies they called enemy nests, our implants scrubbing the screams from our skulls before the dropships docked. Erasers, the brass joked. We saluted, believing it a badge of honor, but the static lingered. It pooled behind my eyelids during debriefings, a black tide hissing with half-formed faces, a child's laughter spliced into gunfire, a lullaby in a dead dialect. The medics dismissed it as synaptic fatigue, the cost of rewriting a mind too many times. Yet in the quiet between deployments, I traced the NSO's fractal scars beneath my skin and wondered, what do they not want us to remember? The others learned not to ask. Kestel, the rookie, once pried open his implant with a vibroblade, found only corrupted code and a self-destruct sequence. They recycled his body. His name struck from the roster like a typo. After that, we marched quieter, ate slower, let the static thicken. But today, as the dropship descends on another nameless colony, I glimpse a holoframe in the ashes, a child's drawing of a soldier with hollow eyes. The static shifts, sharpens, and for the first time it sounds like a scream. Chapter 1. The air aboard the Dominion Vigilant tasted sterile, a metallic tang that clung to the back of TASIA Corren's throat. She stared at the neural interface glowing faintly beneath the skin of her wrist, its fractal patterns shifting like frost on glass. The neurosync overlay had fused to her nervous system 6 months prior, a necessary corruption to join the Ghostwind cohort. Necessary, she told herself, though her fingers still trembled when the pre-mission injections flooded her veins with icy clarity. Outside the deployment bay's viewport, the desert colony Kyr 9 sprawled beneath a bruised sky, its cracked terrain shimmering with heat distortion. Tasia adjusted the seals of her combat suit, the fabric whispering like dried snakeskin. She did not look at the others, the faceless soldiers she had fought beside in a dozen memory-wiped operations. They were shadows, their identities scrubbed by the same NSO protocols that turned her own recollections to static. All except VAREK Sol. He stood apart at the bay's edge, a monolith in black tactical armor. The command sigil on his pauldron pulsed crimson, synced to the cohort's neural network. Tasia watched his reflection in the glass, the sharp angles of his face, the faint tremor in his left hand that he masked by clenching it into a fist. A flaw in the machine. She had studied him across missions. This man who moved with the precision of an autoner, but whose eyes flickered with something feral when the NSO's grip faltered. A man who remembered nothing, yet carried the weight of every erased sin in the set of his shoulders. You are not here to dissect commanders, she chided herself. The NSO's activation chime pierced the silence, a sound like shattering crystal. Cold fire erupted in her skull as the implant overrode her fear, her doubt, her humanity. When she opened her eyes, the world had sharpened into geometries of threat and advantage. VAREK's voice cut through the neural static, stripped of inflection. Mission parameters confirmed. Neutralize hostiles in Sector Theta. Maximum efficiency. Tasia followed the cohort into the drop pod, her movements fluid, inevitable. As the pod screamed through Kyr 9's atmosphere, she caught VAREK studying her. A fractional pause, a tilt of his head as if trying to recall a half-forgotten melody. Then the NSO reclaimed him, his gaze hardening into obsidian. The colony was a graveyard of half-collapsed domes, the air thick with alkaline dust. Tasia's boots crunched over vitrified sand as the cohort advanced, their synced movements painting overlapped kill zones. Yet the expected resistance did not materialize. No plasma fire, no drone swarms, only the wind's mournful keen through abandoned structures. A glitch fractured her neural feed. For 3 heartbeats, the mission parameters flickered. Civilian signatures detected. 2112 souls. The data dissolved before she could parse it, replaced by the cohort's targeting directives. Hostile. always hostile. They breached a bunker complex buried beneath the dunes, its blast doors scarred by artillery that had never fired. VAREK took point, his rifle sweeping empty corridors. TASIA trailed him, her hacking rig automatically probing the facility's data streams. She tasted blood, her own, biting her cheek to stay anchored as the NSO rewired her instincts. The first body lay in a storage chamber, curled around a child's toy, a woman, her skin mottled with radiation burns. Not a soldier. Never a soldier. Tasia's breath hitched, her implant flooding her with calming neurotransmitters that curdled into nausea. Sol, she said, the word too loud in the sterile silence. This facility is civilian. He did not turn. Intel confirms insurgent activity. Intel is wrong. His rifle twitched. A microsecond hesitation. The cohort marched onward. VAREK's vision stuttered. One moment, the corridor stretched empty before him. The next, phantom screams echoed through his auditory feed. A woman's face flickered at the edge of perception, her mouth forming words his NSO refused to decipher. He blinked and the squad's biometrics overlapped his retinas. Tasia's spiking cortisol levels, the rookie's erratic pulse. Irrelevant data. They cornered 20 survivors in a reactor chamber, ragged figures huddled behind cracked shielding, their hands raised in universal surrender. A boy clutched a frayed blanket embroidered with System of Flora blooms, the same flowers that had grown outside VAREK's childhood barracks. Hostiles identified, said the cohort's AI. Cleanse protocol engaged. The soldiers raised their weapons in unison. Tasia's hand closed around VAREK's forearm. Do not do this. He nearly broke her grip. Nearly. But her touch sent a shock through his NSO. A feedback loop that burned through the implant's control. The reactor chamber warped, walls bleeding into a different place, a different mission. A woman screamed. A child's laughter. The smell of burning System of Flora. You have done this before, Tasia's eyes said. You have always done this. Stand down. VAREK snarled, though he did not know whom he commanded. His squad. His ghosts. Himself. A rookie fired. Chaos erupted. Later TASIA would remember in fragments. VAREK moving faster than human, disarming the rookie with a neural shock strike. Survivors scattering like ash on the wind, the NSO's wrath as it punished her disobedience with white-hot agony. She dragged a child from crossfire, the girl's sobs vibrating through her armor. They made us build the reactors, the child gasped. Then they said we were traitors. Thoth. A data spike in Tasia's rig, classified files flooding her senses. Kaiwer 9's manifest, population logs, execution orders signed in cold, administrative script. We're the monsters. VAREK's hand clamped her shoulder. Blood streaked his face, not his own. Fall back. Now. She saw it then. The cracks in him. The way his irises dilated unevenly. Neural veins pulsing black beneath his skin. The NSO was eating him alive. They fled into the storm. Sand scoured Tasia's exposed skin as she hacked her implant, bypassing memory purges with code fragments she had hoarded for months. Beside her, VAREK staggered, his movements jagged. He spoke to phantoms, argued with ghosts. The woman in the reactor, he muttered, she was there. On Eridus. On Kasari. All the missions blur. Tasia pulled him into the shadow of a derelict crawler. The Dominion has been lying to us. The missions, the targets, all lies. He pressed his sidearm to her sternum. His finger trembled on the trigger. You are malfunctioning. I should correct you. She did not flinch. Then correct me, for 10 heartbeats. The gun wavered. When he lowered it, his voice was raw. I do not want to remember. The extraction beacon blinked crimson on Tasia's hood. Salvation or death? She silenced it, severing the cohort's tracking protocols. VAREK watched her. His posture coiled, dangerous. You are committing treason. No, she said, injecting stabilizers into his crumbling neural port. I am giving you a choice. The storm howled around them, burying footprints, erasing paths. Somewhere in the maelstrom, the cohort hunted. TASIA activated her rig's final safeguard, the one she had built in stolen moments, a backdoor into the NSO's core. Varek's scream as the truth flooded him was the sound of a man being born. Chapter 2. The desert night was a feral thing, all teeth and whispers. TASIA CORREN kept her back pressed to the cold alloy hull of the derelict crawler, her breath shallow, her hacking rig humming a discordant lullaby. VAREK SOL crouched beside her, his gauntleted fingers clawing at the sand, as if it might anchor him to reality. The neurosync overlay's corruption branched beneath his skin like blackened roots, veins of decay mapping his descent. He had not slept in 3 cycles. Neither had she. Kara-9's twin moons cast jagged shadows over the dunes, turning the wastes into a labyrinth of silver and void. Somewhere in that maze, the GHOSTWIND cohort hunted them. TASIA parsed the seismic feeds in her neural HUD. Footsteps, too rhythmic to be the wind's work, echoing from the east. She gripped Varek's wrist, her gloves slick with coolant from the crawler's ruptured engine. They are close. He did not nod, did not blink. His eyes were fixed on the horizon, where the storm's afterbirth still stained the sky. The woman, he said, the words frayed. On Eridus, she had your voice. TASIA did not ask which woman. She had learned the shape of his ghosts, the way they slithered into his speech. Fragments of butchered missions the NSO could not fully erase. She pulled him deeper into the crawler's carcass, the air reeking of oxidized fuel. Her rig's filaments snaked into the transport's dead mainframe, scavenging coordinates from its corpse. Joran. The name surfaced in the data like a prayer, a defector's last known location. Mirage Sector, Grid 77X. A bunker buried beneath the glass flats. We need to move, she said. Varek's laughter was a dry rasp. To what end? Even if this Joran lives, he is a broken man. A cautionary tale. He is proof. She yanked her filaments free, sparks dancing in her periphery. Proof the Dominion cannot delete. Proof will not unmake what I have done. His hand found his sidearm, a reflexive twitch. It will not unmake me. The admission hung between them, raw as exposed wiring. TASIA stood, her joints protesting, and slung her rifle across her back. Then let it unmake the lies. The glass flats were a graveyard of light. Dawn's first rays fractured across the crystalline plane, prismatic shards stinging TASIA's eyes. She kept her visor polarized, her HUD overlaying thermal scans onto the blinding terrain. Varek walked 5 paces ahead, his stride mechanical, his NSO's degradation manifesting in the way his head jerked toward phantom noises. Twice, he raised his rifle at nothing. 3 times, he muttered coordinates that matched no known colony. TASIA mapped his decay. The black veins now reached his jawline. His left pupil dilated a half-second slower than the right. She had recalibrated his neural suppressors twice since dawn, but the stabilizers were failing. The NSO was winning. By midday they found the bunker. A hatch, disguised as a solar reflector, lay half-buried beneath a cairn of bone-dry brush. TASIA pried it open with a vibroblade, the hinges screeching like a wounded animal. Varek descended first, his boots echoing in the darkness below. The air inside was tomb cold, heavy with the musk of recycled oxygen and desperation. Flickering biolights revealed walls papered with data scrolls and holoprints, a mosaic of madness. Colony manifests, autopsy reports on NSO subjects, a child's sketch of a soldier with hollow eyes. You should not have come. The voice emerged from the shadows, brittle as desiccated reeds. A figure shuffled into the light, his body a patchwork of scar tissue and corroded cybernetics. Joran's left eye was a milky orb, the right a flickering red lens. His neural port, a gnarled stump at the base of his skull, oozed black fluid. TASIA stepped forward. You know what they have done. You can help us expose it. Joran's laugh dissolved into a wet cough. Expose it? You think truth matters here? He thrust a clawed finger at VAREK. Ask him what remains after the NSO eats your mind. Ask him if he still dreams of the children. VAREK stiffened. His hand drifted to his temple, where the implant pulsed like a second heart. I do not dream. Liar. Joran spat a glob of phlegm at his feet. They make us carve our own graves, mission after mission, and when the guilt cracks us open, they send us to kill the witnesses. Tasia's rig hissed as she interfaced with the bunker's terminal. Files flooded her vision. Experiment logs. Memory alteration protocols. Her stomach clenched. The NSO does not just erase. It rewrites. Our missions. Our memories. Fabrications. Clever girl. Joran collapsed into a rusted chair, his breath rattling. But too late. The lies are in your bones now. Even if you tear out the implant, the ghosts stay. VAREK's rifle snapped up, aimed at Joran's skull. You're a coward. You ran instead of fighting. No. The defector met his gaze. I fought, and I learned the truth. We are not soldiers. We are erasers. And the Dominion's greatest weapon is our ignorance. Silence pooled in the bunker, thick and suffocating. Tasia watched VAREK's finger tense on the trigger. Watched him wrestle with the NSO's imperative to silence the truth. Watched him lower the gun. How do we break the cycle? She asked. Joran smiled, teeth yellowed and broken. You do not. The explosion tore through the bunker's ceiling. Dust and debris rained down as Tasia rolled behind a shattered terminal. VAREK dragged Joran into cover, the defectors' laughter rising over the din. They found you. Of course they did. Dominion drones descended through the breach, their carapaces glistening like oil. Tasia's rig screamed with intrusion alert. The cohort had tracked her signal. She severed the connection, but the drones were already inside. VAREK moved. Later, she would replay the moment in fragments, his body arcing through the chaos, a specter of violence. The way he tore a drone's thruster array free and wielded it as a blade, the black veins in his neck throbbing as he embraced the NSO's madness. He is beautiful, she thought, and hated herself for it. She hacked the remaining drones' IFF tags, turning them against each other. Sparks showered the room as they collided, but one broke through, its plasma cutter aimed at her skull. VAREK intercepted it. The cutter seared through his pauldron, molten alloy fusing with flesh. He did not cry out. He drove his stolen blade into the drone's core, his movements a grotesque ballet of precision and frenzy. When it fell, he stood trembling, smoke curling from his wound. Sol, do not. He staggered, catching himself on the wall. Just go. Joran gripped Tasia's arm, his remaining eye wild. The AI core, black market den in the sinkhole city. They can amplify your rig, broadcast the truth. She hesitated, her gaze locked on VAREK. His shoulders shook, blood and sweat painting him in abstract strokes. Joran shoved her toward a ventilation shaft. I will delay them. VAREK followed, his breath ragged. As they crawled into the shaft, the defector's final scream echoed behind them, a sound like a man remembering how to hope. The sinkhole city was a vertical wound in the earth, its tears crumbling into the abyss. Tasia navigated the scaffold alleys, her senses frayed by sleeplessness and the NSO's persistent static. VAREK trailed her, a wraith in borrowed rags, his armor discarded to avoid detection. She had stabilized his wound, but the flesh around it was necrotic, the NSO's corruption accelerating. He spoke less now, retreating into a labyrinth of fractured memories. Sometimes, he called her captain. Sometimes, sister. The black market den lurked behind a brothel's neon facade, its entrance guarded by gene-spliced brutes with too many eyes. Tasia traded her last ration pack for passage, her skin crawling under their gaze. The den's interior was a cathedral of stolen tech, its vaulted ceiling strung with severed drone parts and pirated data streams. The AI core glowed in the center, a sphere of liquid light. You will die here, VAREK said, His first words in hours. She injected her rig's filaments into the core. Not before you. The upload seared her synapses. The truth, their truth, unspooling in a torrent of atrocities. Colony burnings. Memory edits. The Ghostwind cohort's true purpose. She forced it into the core, her nose bleeding, her vision doubling. VAREK watched the entrance, a scavenged pulse pistol in hand. They're coming. How many? All of them. The first breach charge detonated at dawn. Tasia's world narrowed to the core's rhythm, her rig overheating as she fought to encrypt the data. VAREK fought in the margins, a creature of instinct and decay. She heard his bones break when a breacher's maul caught his ribs, heard him laugh as he detonated a grenade in a drone's maw. When the core flared gold, upload complete, she collapsed, her muscles screaming. VAREK hauled her upright, his grip fever-hot. Move. They fled into the sinkhole's depths, the cohort's shouts echoing above. A service tunnel swallowed them, its walls oozing black water. Tasia's HUD flickered, her NSO spitting errors. She leaned into VAREK, his breaths shallow, his heartbeat a faltering staccato. He slowed, stopped. Sol? His knees buckled. She lowered him to the damp stone, her hands trembling as she assessed the damage. Fractured ribs, third-degree burns, neural decay at 89%. It is done, she said. The truth is out. He seized her wrist, his remaining eyes sharp. The woman, the one I killed. She had your. A seizure ripped through him. TASIA clamped his jaw to prevent him from biting his tongue, her own tears mingling with the tunnel's filth. When it passed, he was still, alive, but vacant. She cradled his head in her lap, the distant drip of water counting seconds they did not have. Her rig's power cell was dying, its light guttering. She deactivated her NSO, the sudden silence a roar. For the first time in years, TASIA CORREN remembered how to pray. Chapter 3. The tunnels beneath the sinkhole city wept with condensation, the walls glistening like the innards of some colossal machine. TASIA CORREN traced her fingers over the damp stone, each droplet a fleeting mirror of the fractured world above. VAREK SOL lay beside her, his breath a shallow rhythm beneath the discordant hum of his failing neurosync overlay. The black veins had reached his temples now, branching across his skin like cracks in ancient porcelain. She counted them, each tendril a testament to missions they could not remember, sins they could not unlive. His eyes flickered open, one pupil dilated into a void, the other a pinprick of fading cobalt. The hub, he rasped, the word more vibration than sound. You must reach it. She knew. The Dominion's neural hub loomed in her mind, a spire of lies piercing the stratosphere. Its servers housed the truth, the unedited archives of every sanitized massacre. To expose it meant severing the cohort's leash. To reach it meant walking through fire. She corrected, her voice brittle. She adjusted his makeshift bandage, the synth flesh beneath already necrotic. We must reach it. He seized her wrist, his grip weaker than she expected. I am already dead. Do not waste this. The words were a blade. She turned away, her rig's filaments slithering into the tunnel's rusted comms panel. The Dominion's chatter flooded her HUD. Quarantine protocols, squad deployments. They knew about the sinkhole upload. Knew she had broadcasted fragments of the truth. The galaxy was stirring, a beast roused from complacency. They will expect us at the hub, she said, more to herself than him. VAREK's laugh was a dry rattle. Good. The neural hub rose from the salt flats like a shard of frozen lightning, its obsidian surface refracting the sun into prismatic scars. TASIA crouched in the shadow of a derelict freighter, her visor painting the facility's defenses in pulsing red glyphs. Auto turrets, scanner drones, neural shock fields, a gauntlet of teeth waiting to bite. VAREK leaned against the freighter's hull, his body a silhouette of erosion. He had insisted on carrying the charges, though his arms trembled under their weight. 3 entry points, he muttered. West flank, weakest. casting long shadows. VAREK flowed through the killing zones like smoke, his movements a dissonant blend of precision and delirium. He crippled a turret with a vibro dagger, then froze, staring at his bloodied hand as if it belonged to a stranger. TASIA pulled him behind a coolant tank. "Stay with me. Always," he whispered, though she did not know if it was truth or reflex. The facility's interior was a mausoleum of light. White corridors stretched into infinity, their walls embedded with the frozen faces of neural upload subjects. Soldiers whose minds had been dissected for the Dominion's archives. TASIA's boots left no sound on the sterile floor, yet each step echoed in her skull. VAREK lagged, his breaths ragged. She glanced back, her HUD flagging his spiking neural load. 94% degradation. He caught her stare and straightened, a marionette defying its strings. They reached the core chamber, its door emblazoned with the Dominion's sigil, a serpent devouring its own tail. TASIA's rig hissed, probing the encryption. "Too slow," VAREK slurred. He pressed his palm to the access panel, his NSO syncing with the hub's network. Black veins throbbed as he rewrote the protocols, blood trickling from his nose. The door slid open, cold air, sharp with the tang of ozone spilled into the corridor. Inside, the core pulsed, a sphere of liquid data, its light casting jagged shadows. Beneath it stood the Dominion commander, her armor pristine, her smile a scalpel. "VAREK Sol," she said. "You have returned to us." He swayed, rifle half raised. "Not yours, not anymore." The commander gestured to the core. "You wish to destroy it? To erase your legacy? To free it?" TASIA snapped. The woman's gaze flicked to her, dismissive. "You are debris, little hacker. He would have scrubbed you from existence with a thought once." VAREK's finger tightened on the trigger. "She is. Why I think at all." The firefight was a symphony of ruin. TASIA dove behind a server stack, her rig screaming as it repurposed the hub's defenses. Scanner drones became shrapnel. Climate controls spat superheated steam. Through the chaos, VAREK advanced, a specter weaving through plasma fire, his body a canvas of fresh wounds. The commander retreated, her voice slicing through the den. "You are a weapon, Sol. You will die a weapon." He lunged, tackling her into the core's access terminal. They grappled, a tangle of ceramite and desperation. TASIA's breath caught as the commander's dagger found his side. Once, twice, he did not cry out. "VAREK." He met her eyes across the chamber. "Finish it." She plunged her filaments into the core. Data devoured her. Memories not her own. VAREK's first mission. His hands steady as he executed a dissident. A child's scream on Kyr 9, smothered by neural static. The commander's voice, smooth as poison. "You are saving them from themselves." TASIA fought to breathe, to focus. The core's light seared her retinas as she carved the truth into its heart. Every atrocity, every lie, a gunshot. She turned. The commander lay broken, her sidearm smoking. VAREK slumped against the terminal, blood pooling beneath him. His NSO's corruption had reached his throat. "Upload. Complete?" he gasped. She nodded, her vision blurring. He smiled, a raw human thing. "Good." His hand found the terminal, his remaining strength channeled into a final command. "Overload." The core's light swelled, a star going supernova. "No." She lunged, but the shockwave hurled her back. VAREK's voice calm amid the storm. The blast shattered the hub. TASIA crawled through collapsing corridors, the facility groaning around her. Debris sliced her skin. Alerts blared of containment breaches. She did not stop. She emerged under a bruised sky, the salt flats trembling. Behind her, the hub imploded, its truth screaming into the datasphere. Ahead, the horizon bled dawn's first light. She found him where the dunes met the wreckage. Alive, barely. His chest rose in stutters. The NSO's veins retreating. Its work done. Why? She whispered. His hand found hers. You, or the mission. They left the Dominion burning. In the derelict freighter's hold, TASIA monitored his vitals. A fragile pulse. A mind adrift. The galaxy learned the truth. The cohort disbanded. None of it mattered. He awoke on the third day. TASIA, he murmured, the name unfamiliar on his tongue. She smiled, tears cutting through the grime on her face. We will make new memories. The freighter drifted toward the uncharted rim, its course unplanned. Behind them, empires fell. Ahead, a star blinked, indifferent.